Hello and welcome to the MindMerge podcast. I am Bram and sitting with me here is my friend Nick.
And we have known each other for about 10 years and we'll be talking about life and how it has affected us.
Let's go on a journey navigating life's realities. Hello and welcome to today's episode. Today we are going to talk about something a bit more philosophical. Last episode we were talking about the metaphor and the car and everything, how life relates to a car. Today we're going to talk about a reality, and we don't necessarily have a metaphor like we did yesterday. So it's a little bit of an experiment, but we're going to definitely try to relate everything as much as possible to our own experience and our own examples. And the sort of moral of the story of today is how reality can be different every single time for everyone. And that's sort of what we're going to talk about today, about objective reality, about subjective reality, what it is, what it means, and how you view reality throughout your life.
Because there's not one single reality. We are both sitting here, we are both experiencing this, but we both have different thoughts and feelings about what we're saying, what we're seeing.
How we interpret the situation.
How we interpret it. And even though both are different, both are true at the same time.
Yeah, at least to us. So we were talking about this earlier, actually, when we were preparing the episode, how maybe we're seeing color, our perception of colors is different, like we both know that this is green. I'm pointing to his shirt for the listeners. Like, he has a green thing on his shirt. We know it's green, but maybe the way I see green is different from what you... So maybe my green is actually your purple, and my blue is actually your red, and or whatever it is. So we have no idea of knowing exactly what we see. If we see the exact same things, we can identify the same colors, but maybe it's different. What I'm trying to say with this is everyone has their own perception of reality. Everyone has their own, and we can never know from each other what each other's reality is.
No, but I think we can have a talk about it.
Yeah.
And actually maybe try to come to a conclusion instead of trying to convince you of my reality and you're trying to convince me of yours.
Yeah.
We're just going to have an open talk and see what we are actually experiencing, or where we can actually find a common ground.
Yeah. What I think is a good example of how, at least for me personally, I have different realities. I can change my reality within a week or within maybe like a month. If I go to the gym. If I go to the gym for a month, maybe my arms will have grown by 1 millimeter and I would have gained 300 grams. But I feel like I'm more muscular. Like, if I look in the mirror, I will see myself as more toned, more muscular. I will feel more confident. While in reality, there hasn't been that much that has been changed on my body. So the way you see yourself, the way you look at yourself in the mirror is a great example of how your reality can be so different.
Yeah, it can literally change, but this is, of course, is a physical change. And you can see by putting in work, by going to the gym, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, and you follow that routine, something's going to change. And you might not believe in it. You might not think something is going to change, but just by the laws of nature, if you work out, if you use your muscles, if you put up the weights, things are going to change. So I think the same would go for the mental part. If you do certain exercises, if you do certain things, you can change the way that you see and experience your reality. Yeah. Because not everything is physical.
Yeah.
Like when I don't go to the gym for maybe a month, I think to myself, this is not something that I want. I don't longer enjoy going to the gym. Maybe it is not for me. And I put my reality, I make it in such a way that I think like, okay, this is no longer worth it. And I convince myself of this.
So what do you mean? What's not worth it?
Going to the gym. because I feel like staying on the couch might be easier, more comfortable.
Yeah.
Putting in the effort and the work is not worth it. I don't have the energy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, I also see my body changing for the worse, and that is giving me negativity.
Yeah.
So just by pushing myself and actually going there and then being there, and as soon as I am in the gym again, I feel like, okay, but this is actually something that I love to do.
Mm-hmm.
Even though inside of my mind, inside of my reality, I convinced myself this is not something that I want to do anymore.
Mm.
But I pushed myself and I changed that part again.
Mm. So you're saying that within an hour or maybe half an hour, maybe 20 minutes, you can change your reality.
Mm-hmm.
So then what is reality? What do you mean with reality? Because reality can be interpreted in a pretty different, like a lot of different ways. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you mean with reality?
I think when you look at a situation and you perceive it in a certain way, and about how you perceive it, then there are going to be certain thoughts attached to it. And I think instead of that reality, and let's call it life, is happening to you, maybe you can also change it in a way that is better for you. So let's say I like this example. You're giving a presentation, and in the back of the class there is someone laughing.
Mm-hmm.
That is facts. Someone is laughing.
That's the objective reality.
That's the objective reality. And then what comes after is the subjective reality.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he or she is on her phone watching a meme. That's why they're laughing.
Memes are hilarious always.
Exactly. Maybe they are making a joke with a classmate.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they are laughing at you because you said something weird during the presentation. Maybe they're laughing at anything. It doesn't really matter in the end. But if you just think that they're looking at a meme, that's going to be very positive for you. You're going to feel comfortable. You're going to continue your presentation.
So now we're getting into the subjective reality.
Yeah, exactly. How do you perceive it? How do you make it? What gives you the most confidence? What makes you better? What?
Well, this feels like the step after that. Maybe explain first what the subjective reality is, because you're already getting into you have influence over your reality, right? But maybe it's interesting to first explain what different options there are or how subjective reality works.
Okay. Let's say.
So with this example,
Okay. Let's say in the beginning, the subjective reality for me at least was automatically negative a lot of the times. You have maybe certain insecurities, so your mind automatically takes the most negative path because worst case scenario, that's what you believe.
Yeah.
And I think in a younger age, that is something that goes automatically.
Maybe in general it goes automatically because we're evolutionarily wired to think the most negative one, because that's just what our survival instinct is, to basically think of the most negative thing that can happen, because that's just how evolution works. It's just the most negative part.
Yeah.
So you automatically think negatively, but there's also other options.
Yeah. I think when you have an insecurity, that situation is going to be put onto your insecurity. If you have an insecurity about giving a presentation, then that situation is going to link to your insecurity.
So the situation being the girl laughing at you.
Yeah, but also you're...
laughing.
Yeah, but also that you are nervous about giving the presentation. Because if you're sitting there with full confidence, a girl laughing is not going to influence your confidence. If you are already shy and you're already nervous and you're already afraid what people might think of your presentation, and then somebody laughs, that's only going to strengthen that insecurity.
Yeah.
So I think reality is attached to how confident you are, maybe how
Your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I have another example of this, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I think if you're afraid and something happens when you are afraid, that is only going to make it worse.
Afraid, angry, sad.
Yeah.
So, in this case of you giving a presentation, a girl laughing, which is an objective reality, it's a fact, the girl laughs, could mean anything, because even like, unless you ask her why she was laughing, you're not going to know why, but you're going to automatically fill it in your head, and you're probably going to go with the negative one, which is she's laughing at me, especially when you're nervous, when you're shy, and you don't feel confident giving the presentation. So how do you, what would be another option? How can you, what's another way of approaching a situation like a girl laughing during your presentation?
I think in the moment itself, it is very difficult to deal with in the beginning, when you see that maybe you can experience what you see and how you feel in a different way, is after reflecting on the situation. Like, I think in the moment itself, you are feeling quite horrible if something like that happens and you are insecure about it. But maybe when afterwards you're sitting at home and you think like, okay, what was happening? Do I know for sure that she was laughing at me? No, I don't. What other situations could be possible? And maybe just put your belief into that situation. Because in the end, you can't know for sure. But I can think, okay, this is the most positive one. She was looking at a meme.
Isn't that kind of lying to yourself?
I think it is focusing on the most positive situation, because you could never know. And in the end, it doesn't really matter.
No, maybe for you it does.
For me, yeah, maybe for
your
someone
feeling.
else it does. But we can't know for sure. So you're holding on to something that you do not know, and it is something negative, making you insecure. And you're growing it, you're feeding it, you're making it bigger, bigger, bigger when you're sitting at home. She was laughing at me. I can't do this. I'm horrible at giving presentations. And you're giving yourself all of this negativity, and you don't even know if she was laughing at you.
No. So you have all these options. You can basically choose, because like you said, you have no idea if it's true or not. You have maybe 3 or 4 options. You have the most negative one, and then number 2, 3, 4, and 4 being the most positive one. And since you can never know, and it also doesn't really matter, just choose one, and then might as well choose the positive one.
Yeah. And if you can't even, if you can't choose the positive one, and it's something that still sticks with you, you should ask yourself, why does someone else have so much control in the way that I feel?
Yeah.
Why does someone laughing affect me in such a horrible way? Like, why does she have that power to do that to me even? Like, maybe you should just be like, okay, it happened. End of the story.
Yeah. So then you're actively choosing to not let other people influence your emotions. Is that what you're saying?
In a way, but of course, people should be able to affect you in a certain way, especially the people close to you. But only if you really know the answer of what they are doing. And now that you have the objective reality, she laughs.
Yeah.
You don't know what that means. You can even ask her, but then you would probably still not know what it means.
No, still not 100% sure.
Exactly.
She can tell you, but she can lie.
Exactly. So you have to create your own part in which that you believe. Because what if she was laughing at you?
Then
But
what?
exactly. But if you believe that she wasn't, then you're going to feel good about giving a presentation. Doesn't matter what her intent was. It matters what you believe.
Your reality is what matters.
Exactly.
So then if she was laughing at you, then you actively deny the objective reality. Is that what you're saying?
Sure. Yes.
Isn't that a
because
little ignorant in a way?
I don't think that. Okay, let's say I think it says more about her than it says about you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think in any situation you should make someone feel uncomfortable when they are giving their presentation, when they are doing their best, when they are really trying to do something, and you are choosing to laugh at them in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
It says more about that person than that it says about your presentation.
Because why do people laugh? Why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly. You can have someone that tells you that you are ugly. And in the end, I don't think it matters whether you are ugly or not, but I don't think that someone is supposed to tell you to your face that you are ugly. I think that is mean, and I think that people shouldn't be doing that. So somehow be like, okay, you are just a shitty person. Not necessarily with the laughing, but I think if you say it to someone's face like you are ugly, I think you are a shitty person. And I don't think those people should be able to affect you at all, because those are people that are dealing with their own problems, and they is an assumption and they take it out on you.
So why do they take it out on you? What's their motivation? Why would people be mean?
Maybe it's because if I feel shitty, you're going to feel shitty. It's like if the world is against me, I'm going to be against the world.
Yeah.
So if reality is against me, I'm going to be against other people.
Yeah.
Because I think if you are feeling good, you are feeling healthy, you are happy, you're not going to be shitty to other people.
Yeah. So you should deliberately you should be aware of your subjective reality. You should be aware of however do you view the world, however do you want to interpret these situations.
Because in the beginning, I felt like reality is reality. The way that I experience it is the way that it is. The way that I feel about it, the way that I think about it is what is to be true.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Reality, like how I experience it, so how I see it, how I feel about it, and how I think about it is all to be true.
What do you mean
without questioning what is actually happening? So I was always on autopilot. The girl is laughing. Okay, that is about me. The guy is telling me that I'm ugly. Okay, I am ugly. I thought everything to be true, and I never questioned if I could maybe also think about it in a different way. Because if I have these thoughts, if I have these feelings, they are true.
Yeah.
And it was on autopilot constantly. And I think that you create a lot of self-stigma.
And just for the listeners, this was during your depression period.
Yeah. It is. If other people are graduating and I am not, let's say, that is the reality. So the reality is that I'm a failure. That was my reality. That's what I thought. That's how I felt. So that is true. Not realizing that I was in a depression and that maybe sometimes I should reflect on my thoughts. Like, am I really a failure? And actually get deeper into that thought process.
Yeah.
Okay, what makes me a failure? Being behind a year in class. Does that make me a failure? Maybe in the terms of society.
Yeah.
You should be one level up. But based on the rest, I don't think that I was a failure as a person. But in my reality, I was. And I think it took me years to realize that I was depressed. But for years, I was already having depressive thoughts and negativity and stigma and self-stigma. And it felt like afterwards I had created a reality of my own. So the outside world was pretty good, but the inside world was pretty bad.
Yes.
Yeah. But afterwards, we were taught, okay, you have, let's say, a certain situation. And for me, that was my dad coughing in the night. And we had to say, okay, how does that make you feel? And for me, it felt like, okay, if my dad is coughing, he might die. That was my thought process. That was my reality. That was the constant thoughts that were going through my head.
Yeah.
And as soon as I thought that, my body, I was feeling the stress and the sadness in my body. Like I could feel it over and over and over, and it was happening every single night. And I never thought that it could be different. Because if I feel like this, then that is true.
Yeah.
And with therapy, they taught me, okay, but what is another thought that you might create when experiencing this situation? Because they were like, how many times have you experienced this situation? Every single night. Has it happened yet? No. But you feel it every single time so extreme. Is it a rational feeling to have? No. What other thought can you create when this is happening? He is just coughing. So instead of going into that negative spiral of death and losing your parent, it is just a cough. And it takes a very long time to go from A to B. But by that way, by looking at my situation rationally, without my feelings attached, just objectively, he has a cough in the night. And that changed the way how I experienced that situation. So for me, that was very weird because I was very conscious of that situation and how it changed and how the changing situation made me feel for the positive. I was like, it feels like you're reprogramming like a computer.
Yeah.
You're changing how you experience the situation. You're changing the result. You're changing it afterwards, and you're changing it how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I could be doing this with a lot of things that made me feel bad into something more positive. And it felt like, okay, I can change my reality and I can change how I experience it in a more positive way, but you have to do it consciously. You have to do it you have to work on it.
Actively try to change it.
Yeah.
So what did you do to actively try to change it? Real activities, really putting in work time. What did you do?
Well, first it was describing the situations, how it made me feel.
And did you write it down? Or is it in your head?
Yeah, we had like a little format, yeah.
Or form, I guess, yeah.
A little form, wrote it down. How did it make you feel? But also, is it a rational feeling to have in this situation? And I think it is very difficult to
What does it mean, a rational feeling? What do you mean with that?
Is it a feeling that you should have according to the situation?
Yeah, so...
okay, let's say...
like rational... yeah, sorry, go ahead.
You are walking in the city and someone gives you a glimpse. Someone is just looking at you briefly and you go home and you're sitting the whole day thinking that there's something wrong with your face because they gave you a certain look and you take that with you and you're feeling shitty, you're feeling depressed, you're taking that home. And then you think to yourself, is that a rational feeling to have if someone looks at you?
So rational being just purely objectively think about it.
Yeah.
Like no feeling attached. Is it logical this happens?
But is it also, do I want to feel this way about this situation? And if it is not, okay, what else might be the truth? What else might be the reality? What else might be what was actually happening? And you can make a list of the things that might also be happening and start to focus on those results, on those answers.
So that's what you did during your therapy. You had the form and you were like, okay, is this a rational feeling to have, a rational thought to have? And then I can imagine you would always cross out no or answer no.
But it was very difficult to distance yourself from that feeling that you're having about the situation because it's the way that I feel. So it is my truth.
Yeah.
And before therapy, I never questioned my truth because why would I question my truth? No one told me to maybe question my thoughts, question my truth, question my reality. And I think that's why.
So you were never triggered to question your own reality?
No. Because in the beginning...
So here's your trigger, question your own reality.
No, but maybe just think about a situation that made you feel bad and try to see if it was actually that or that it might have been something else.
Yeah. Really analyze. So, yeah.
Yeah, really analyze the things and not take them for the truth.
So how do you reflect on those things? So you already had the form, right? But does that mean everyone needs the form?
No, I think it can also, what also helped is some sort of meditation. And it's like, if I believe in this, and let's say you have some sort of stigma, and that is your reality. Let's say your family has always been against strawberries. And your father tells you strawberries are shitty, they're unhealthy, they're not tasty. Your mother says the same, but you've never had a strawberry. But you tell yourself strawberries are shitty because that's what has been taught by your parents, your family, maybe even your friends. But that is your reality.
Yeah.
Even though you've never had a strawberry before.
Yeah, you firmly believe strawberries are bad.
And it's also maybe the way that something has been taught with you, and that's how you experience it. Then if your family says that the world is against you and the world is a shitty place, then you are going to believe that everything that happens to you is against you. But maybe it's just the way that their parents have been taught to them, and they teach it again to you, and they have never questioned their reality either. So they just accept the way the things are and not trying to see if it is actually the truth. You know, maybe tasting a strawberry for once instead of just accepting that they are shitty, bad.
So my prediction for that situation would probably be, I firmly believe these strawberries are bad, and taste and food is so much than the objective taste. You know, you will have an interpretation of what the strawberry will taste for you like. But if you constantly think this what I'm eating is bad, this is going to be horrible. In the case of taste, it might probably feel horrible, or there will be some sort of mental blockade, and you will maybe have a physical reaction of trying to, throw up or whatever. Is that also the same with real life? With let's say the situation, you get a glimpse from someone in the city. If you confront your reality, if you confront the beliefs you have about something, if you're like, oh, maybe there isn't something wrong with my face. Maybe my face is just fine, and someone was just thinking about something in their head and were kind of like made a face and just accidentally looked at me. I can imagine there will also be some sort of resistance.
Because you believe that there's something wrong with your face.
Yeah.
And they add on to it. So they are busy in their own worlds. They're probably not even thinking about you. They're in their own mind, in their own thoughts. Like, I think for when you're walking through the city, no one is really thinking about looking ugly at people. Nobody's really thinking about doing anything to harm other people. They're just walking, shopping,
and busy with their own thoughts,
busy with their own lives.
Yeah.
Like they don't pay attention to you that much. Like I don't pay attention to them that much.
Yeah.
But I think it's some sort of placebo effect. Let's say when you're a kid, or maybe when you have kids and you want them to try something, but they're already, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And when they actually try to eat it, they already have the thought, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, and they're not going to like it because they don't even try it. They put it in their mouth. Their automatic reaction is, I don't like this, without even trying to taste it. But
so in reality, you're a step too far. You're trying something, but maybe you should have change your mindset. Like step one would be change your mindset about strawberries, confront your own reality. Realize that I have not tried strawberries before, so maybe they might be good. I have no idea. And then change your mindset, slightly try to change your mindset about strawberries to a point where you're like, okay, I think I'm kind of neutral on strawberries now because I have no idea how they taste like, because I've never tasted one. I think now I'm ready to try one with an open mind.
Yeah, exactly. I think in a lot of the cases you have a closed mind, and it's literally what it says is you are determined that what you think and what you believe cannot be changed.
So how do you identify a closed mind? How do you realize you have a closed mind?
I guess if you are unable to change your opinion or you're not open to the opinions of others, I believe in this and I don't really care what you say because it's not going to change the way that I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are having a conversation, I believe in A, you believe in B, I would like for you to change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it is actually B and I might be wrong, I would like to believe in B.
Do you have an example with that?
Okay. You believe that chocolate A is a certain brand is the best, and you believe that chocolate B is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So I have chocolate A, you have chocolate B, and I can be telling you here like, chocolate A is the best, but I'm not going to try your chocolate because this is the best one.
This is the best one.
Exactly. But I can't know for sure if I don't try your chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think being open-minded is also tasting the other chocolate and be honest about it.
So, but then you identify it, because we were still talking about identifying closed minds. It basically just comes down to reflect on yourself again.
But also
Just
being
reflection.
able to listen to other people and what they believe. Because we are all here experiencing the same thing, give or take.
Recording the podcast.
We're both recording the podcast, but you also have to be able to take in the information of the other. Maybe you like a certain type of speaker, but I like the other speaker. Maybe you like something there and I like something here. But if I don't try out your stuff, if I don't try out your reality,
We will never know.
we will never know. And I think maybe accepting that both can be there at the same time, and you don't always have to convince one of the other. And then also be like, okay, you know what? I don't like yours and this is mine. And also be agreed to disagree.
Yeah. So then, going back to the open mind, once you have an open mind, you're able to try anything. How do you go from a closed mind to an open mind? So you identified the fact you have a closed mind. You're not open to the opinion of others. How do you go from a closed mind to an open mind?
I guess believing that there might be more truths existing at the same time, that not only your truth is the truth. So maybe someone made you feel a certain way, maybe someone did that to you and you believe that they did that because of this, but also hear the other people out. You have to be open to more information just than your own. You have to look at more perspectives, so the way that other people experience things than your own. And if you cannot accept the experiences of others or maybe the perspectives or the realities, then you have a closed mind because nothing is able to enter.
Yeah. That's why they call it closed minds.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
and,
everything, your mind is just, nothing's able to get in. That's it. Because is it only nothing is able to get in, or is it also that nothing is able to get out?
I think it is only able to get out because your reality is the reality.
Yeah.
And that is what you're trying to convince to everyone, that this is the truth.
Yeah, you have your truth is locked into your mind.
And I think when we said about the negative thoughts being automatic and the negative situations being automatic, if you have a closed mind, I think in a lot of cases your life will be more miserable. If you believe that everything is happening against you and that is something that you believe in and that cannot be changed, it is very difficult to make it more positive.
Could you repeat that?
When, let's say, the girl laughing to you is just the way because it's against you. The person looking at you on the street is also against you, and that is what you believe in. And every minor little thing is something against you because of maybe something your insecurity, just because it's negative. Because for me, it has always felt like negativity is on autopilot. It's just the easiest way for your mind to grab onto or hold onto. And if that is the way that you live your life, like everything is against you and you cannot change that, it's going to be a very rough time. But if you are open-minded and think about other possibilities and maybe listen to what other people are also telling you, you can change the way that you feel about situations.
Mm-hmm. So it's by having an open mind, you're getting confronted by the realities of others, or that comes down to what conventions other people have, and if you get input from other people, if you get confronted by other realities,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to question your own reality and maybe change it for the better.
Yeah.
So one thing, maybe we're getting I'm going on a little sidetrack here. I feel like in order to, if you have an open mind and you get confronted by the realities of others, something that will stop you from changing your reality, your views on things, will be your ego.
Mm-hmm.
But since we're thinking out loud here, maybe your ego is actually stopping you from opening your mind. Maybe that's it. What's your views on that? Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess I think it's when you really believe in something to be true. I'm not sure if this relates, but when I started therapy, it felt like there's something wrong with me and no one can change it.
Mm-hmm.
So even during therapy, I'm like, okay, something is broken. We can do whatever we want. And I had a closed mind about this certain subject about depression.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know what depression was. What is depression? What is me? What is something else? And my mind was closed because I believed that it could not change.
Yeah.
I was very firm, thinking to myself, what am I doing here? This is not helping. This is not doing anything. But also by having those thoughts, it didn't help in the beginning because I was closed. I had my beliefs. I believed this is it. There will be no change. And eventually in group therapy, you suddenly hear other people with the same problems, with the same things, and suddenly something slipped in.
What do you mean slipped in?
I think when someone tells you something and suddenly you also believe that to be true, and then it contradicts with what you believed in.
Do you have an example? What was the first thing that slipped in for you? Like one of your fellow participants told you something which you believe to be true because they were in the same state as you?
For me, it felt like I was the only one experiencing this.
The feeling bad, basically.
Yeah. The having depressive thoughts, the anything really. And I believe like, okay, this is me. This is just me. There's something wrong with me, and this cannot be fixed. And I'm having other problems than other people. I felt like I am the only one dealing with these problems.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're talking with people and they tell you exactly the same problems. And they got out of it. And suddenly it's like, okay, I'm having these problems. I used to think that I could not get out of it, but these people also got out of it.
Oh, you already saw people in your group who got out?
Yeah, because we had certain expert by experience. So there was a woman and she was also depressed for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And she was living life happily. And she was telling these stories and I was like, I relate to this. And then the question popped into my mind, like it's giving me the chills. Like, but what if this could also be the case for me? What if?
Yeah.
Asking yourself like, okay, I believe in this. But then I was like, do I know for sure? Do I know for sure that it can never be changed? No, I do not know for sure. So what if there is another possibility that I could be better? And that's suddenly when something opened up a little. What if? What if I could be better? What if I'm going to be good again? What if I'm going to feel happy?
So that slightly opened your mind.
And it gave me a little bit of hope.
So how did a thought like that slip in while you had such a closed mind? because it was relatable, or because you could just see that the objective reality was she has the same pattern. She used to have the same patterns than me, the same beliefs than me, which includes I'm not going to be better, which includes the closed mindset. But then also the objective reality was she's living life happily now.
It's like saying, I think it's a step deeper into your mind. So you like this, you don't like this, you want to go there, you don't want to go there. And suddenly I ask myself, okay, but I can't do this, but am I for sure that I can't do this? No. So I believe in something that I am not exactly sure of. So what if there might be another possibility that might be the truth? Because in the end, I don't know if it's going to be yes or no. I don't know if it can change or that it can't change. But which one do I believe in? That I can change or that I can't change?
So then we go back to you have different options. You can't know for sure. So just pick the positive one. Like we were talking about in the beginning of the episode.
Exactly.
But doesn't that require an open mind? And you said you had a closed mind.
But this was from within.
Yeah.
And something on the outside happened and it not necessarily came in. Like I didn't believe that I could change, but more like, what if I could? And I think asking yourself that question, what if, do I know that this is to be true? Is this the reality I cannot change? It's something that I believed in firmly, but I wasn't sure eventually if it was the truth. Because can I know for sure that in 10 years I won't? No, I cannot.
Yeah.
And giving myself that little space, like between instead of choosing option A, I cannot change automatically, I consciously chose to go for option B. What if I can change? And suddenly,
So you got a little bit of hope.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like, okay, I feel like this. I'm going to feel like this for the rest of my life. But so much happens in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years that you cannot know where you are going to be in 10 years. But if you believe that in 10 years, there's going to be something better than today, suddenly you can change the way that you feel about the future.
Yeah. That's a really good insight. Yeah.
It's like now I have a broken leg, so I can be like, okay, you know what? This broken leg is going to be forever.
Yeah.
But you know that a broken leg fixes in 6 weeks.
But you know this for a fact.
You know
right?
this.
Yeah.
You know this for a fact.
Yeah.
But about mental health, it's completely different because there are no real facts. There's no guideline.
It's all subjective.
It's all subjective.
Works
Yeah.
differently for everyone.
Yeah. But let's see, you have the broken leg. And if you believe that it's going to be broken forever, then your broken leg is going to be broken forever. If you keep it in the cast the whole time,
Right.
it's going to keep being broken.
Well, it might be fixed underneath.
Well, it might already be fixed underneath if you just take off the cast and actually believe that it could be fixed. You still have to wait out a certain period before it is actually fixed, because let's say a broken leg takes 6 weeks to heal.
Yep.
So 6 weeks of time where you are not walking on your leg, when you're not doing this, not doing that. And with mental health, it might actually be the opposite, that you have to think positively. You have actively tried to do something, actively tried to change something,
Yeah.
and believe that time can change you.
So what you're saying is your first step towards your healing was realizing that you can't know anything for sure. So, it also includes, I'm not sure if I will get better.
Yeah.
But it also includes, okay, I'm also not sure I'm going to be like this forever. So I might as well just stop thinking I won't ever change.
Yeah.
Because I don't know for sure. It won't, whatever.
Yeah, you have the positive outcome and the negative outcome. And I don't know, can you look into the future? Oh, you can?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't. I don't know what about you.
No, but you can't look into the future, so you don't know whether it's going to be option A or B. But if you believe that it's going to be just as bad as today, then it's going to be just as bad as today.
Yeah.
If you believe that it might be better, then there is that possibility that it might be better.
Yeah. So just like, last time we said the conclusion of the episode was trust the process. This
Trust the
also
process.
feels like trust the process.
Yeah.
Not necessarily trying to get into the conclusion, but I saw that it was a similarity.
Yeah. It's, let's say, for an example, you are trying to run a marathon. And every single day you tell yourself, I can't run a marathon. I can run a marathon. Guess what? In 10 years, you won't be able to run a marathon. But if you tell yourself, what if I can run a marathon? And you try to run that marathon every single day. The first day, you get 1 kilometer. The second day, 1.5. Third day, 2 kilometers.
Yeah.
And maybe within a few months, maybe up to a year, depending on how fast your progress is, you would be able to run that marathon.
But you will still need to actively put in the time and the effort every single
Because
day.
if you believe that you can run that marathon, you will go out there and run it.
Yeah.
You might not succeed the first day, but you believe, okay, you know what? If I try again, it will happen tomorrow.
And this is interesting because what is hard about depression is that it's so hard to get active, and it's so hard to gather the energy to put into work to change. But if you firmly believe that you can get out and you can get out of your depression, you can run the marathon, then you will have more energy, or it will be easier to conjure up the energy to work on it every single day.
But it's also that you have to see the small winnings, the small progress that you're making. Because if you want to go from A to a marathon, and let's say you've been running for 3 months every single day, and you're only halfway of the marathon, and you're like, you know what? I give up. I've been doing this for 3 months, and I can't even run a full marathon. But if you look at the progress that you've made, that you went from 1 kilometer to 15 in 3 months, how far you have actually come, and also be proud of that, knowing where you came from. You have to look at that and not necessarily the end result.
Yeah.
Because you see the progress that you've made, and you went from 1 kilometer to 15. Know what you can achieve if you go even further.
Yeah.
And again, that is part of trusting the process.
Yeah. It is trusting the process. And in order to, like I said, in order to be able to put in the work, you have to really believe. So in my view, then, first things first, so let's say you're depressed, first things first, try to open up your mind, try to confront your own reality, and try to get yourself to believe that, what if you get better?
No.
You don't know for sure you're not going to get better. You don't know for sure you're going to be in this mindset for the rest of your life. So what if you get out?
Yeah. I think for me, it's just take a breather, relax your body, and just ask yourself, what if?
What if?
What if?
What if? Yeah.
What if I can clean up my room? What if I can go to school? What if I can go to work?
Yeah. And then try to start as small as possible. So if your room is still kind of big thing and you can't really do it, then start with your desk. And if that's too big, start with one piece of clothing.
Start with the clothing next to your bed.
Yeah. Just pick up one. And make it to such a ridiculously small step that you're like, okay, but of course I can do this. Like, whatever. It's one piece of clothing. Yeah, it's one piece of clothing. It's one step further. And you know what? If you did that piece of clothing and you feel like doing more, do more. If you're like, okay, I did my piece of clothing, I'm going to go back to bed. Next day, do another piece of clothing. Maybe even 2. If you get feeling a little naughty.
Feeling a little freaky. I mean, you have 2 hands for 2 pieces of clothing.
Right. So it's still one trip.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, 3 pieces of clothing. And after you did, let's say you did 1, 2, 3. So it's 6 pieces of clothing.
Yeah.
You already notice a difference.
Yeah.
And don't be too hard on yourself. Just really give yourself the time and the space to make small steps, a little progress.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a little progress every single day, you're gonna get there eventually. And yeah.
No, but it's also if you only pick one piece of clothing and then afterwards you tell yourself, wow, you know, I'm such a failure. I only did one piece of clothing and other people can keep their whole room clean.
Mm-hmm.
Also be like, okay, but
what situation are you in compared to them?
Exactly.
Maybe not compare yourself to others that much, but give yourself some slack.
If it is already difficult for you to get a piece of clothing, and I know I've also been there, like I've had piles next to my bed, but it is a start. You changed something in the way that you spend your day. You've changed something for the better of cleaning your room.
And be proud of that.
Yeah. I did something today. Doesn't matter how small, how big, whatever you did.
Step is a step.
A step is a step. And you can say, you know what? I'm proud of myself. No matter how small that step is.
So what if you can't even, what if you miss a day? Or what if it's also hard to do a piece of clothing?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that's 2 different questions. Let's first begin with what if you miss a day?
I don't clean my room every day.
No.
Do you?
No. But let's say your room is already a big mess. And you did 1 piece of clothing, maybe 2 pieces of clothing, and then the 3rd day you can't.
If you actually feel like you didn't have the energy to do it, if you couldn't get the strength to get up and do it, that is okay. It turns out that you're in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
And be very conscious of that. Yeah. And then that it is okay to skip a day, skip 2 days, skip 3 days forever, skip a week, as long as that second step will come one day.
Yep.
And try to get into the flow, into the rhythm, but take steps slowly and be kind to yourself whenever you do take a step, and be kind to yourself when you do not take a step.
Yeah. Be kind to yourself and trust the process.
No, but always be kind to yourself.
Yeah,
be soft to yourself. What if your friend was in the similar situation and they cleaned up 1 piece of clothing and the next day they didn't? Are you going to tell them that they're a failure and that they can't do anything? And no, you're going to be like, you know what? You made a start. You made some progress. You're changing something. Like if this is difficult for you, maybe you should work on it together. But you're not going to be bad to them. You're not going to scold at them. Mm-hmm. So why would you scold at yourself?
And let's say the first step, you didn't take the first step yet of like cleaning up the clothes. Make it even smaller. You know, if you just get it down to just sit upright in your bed, because that's the first step of getting out of your bed. Just go sit upright and then just go back down. It's just make it smaller. If you can't, you can sit upright in your bed for 2 seconds. Everyone can do this, even you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe even hypothetically you can't do that. Make it smaller. Just do your arms like this. Make the step small. Oh, sorry. Make the step so small. Yeah. It's impossible to not do. Anyone could do it.
I think already sometimes getting out of bed can be an accomplishment.
Yeah, just get out of bed for like 2 seconds and then go back if you want to. Step is a step.
Anything that would improve your day slightly is already a step. And that doesn't even need to be every day.
No. It doesn't need to be every day. Because a step is a step. Be kind to yourself. Trust the process. And a step is a step. I think. Yeah. I think that's a good conclusion for the episode.
So think of something that might be a step for your day, for this week, next month, and maybe let us know what your step has been. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. On Spotify, we will also put up the question where you can answer whatever you listen. In the YouTube, you can put it in the comments. Just let us know what your step is, if you did it, and if it doesn't work for you, be honest with yourself and make the step smaller.
Yeah.
We would love to hear what your steps are. We would really like to thank you guys for watching, for listening.
See you next time.
See you next time. Again. Yeah.